Back when I used to swim, I remember after sessions, we'd all walk back to the bags, dry off, and I'd see some of my teammates would pull out a bottle with some powder in it, and then they'd go to the tap, add some water, shake it up and drink it. And I knew it was protein powder, like I knew it was like for supplements, but to be honest, I didn't really look into it further. And so I'd just go home, have my breakfast and drink some milk. When I was younger, I didn't really know what that whey protein, otherwise known as protein powder, was. So I never really took it. I saw it around, I saw people taking it, but I just never bothered to look more closely into it. So just never got the benefits of it. And so, yeah, looking back at that time, if I did know how important it was, if I did know the benefits of whey protein, I would have looked into it, I would have researched it, and I would have probably ended up taking it and benefiting more from it and improving my training and performance from that. And so, yeah, I know that now because I go to the gym and I train for weightlifting, and it doesn't just apply to weightlifting, but it applies to all sports where, you use your muscles. Because at the end of the day, you use your muscles to train and adapt to that certain training stimulus. And if you can supplement that with whey and it accelerate how fast you recover and adapt, that's a good thing. I just wish someone would have told me when I was 15, 16, that this stuff was good and to look into it and to consider using it. Because first of all, it's just a part of your diet. And number two, if other people are using it to improve their performance and you're not, you're losing out. And this isn't like a drug or anything, it's just another form of supplement of food. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you want to get better at the sport that you train for. And I'm glad that you clicked on this video, because if you watch the whole way through, you'll come away with knowledge that can help you to improve faster and put in stronger performances because of the change in diet and nutrition that you're giving yourself. Before we dig into the video and explain why you might or might not consider having whey protein, we'll talk about exactly what it is. So, whey protein is a byproduct of the cheese making process. And what the word byproduct means is something you get on the side when you make a primary thing. So for example, we'll talk about making lemon juice. You get your lemons, you squeeze it out, and you get the juice that comes from there. But what you're left over with is the lemon rind, the actual outside of the lemon itself. And instead of throwing it away, you could make lemon zest out of it by what's it called? Let me figure this out. Sanding a lemon. Yep, so it's called grating. So grating the lemon, you create lemon zest. And from that lemon zest, you get something useful that you can use in recipes and whatever, instead of just throwing it away. So the same thing is with your whey protein. So instead of throwing it away, like that top layer of cheese, people that made the cheese decided to test it, and they figured out, oh wow, it's actually pretty high in protein and we can sell this stuff instead of throwing it away. If you've watched my previous video where I talk about macronutrients, you have a pretty good understanding about protein and why it's good for you. But in case you haven't watched it, we'll go through it right now before we get into the details. When you do hard exercise, the muscles that you use will become sore from stress and usage. That's why after a hard training session, the next day you'll be pretty sore. And so the food and drink that you have between the training sessions will provide you with nutrition and help you to recover from that training session. And the three biggest nutrients that your body takes from the foods are protein, fats, and carbs. From this, the protein is the main macronutrient which helps your muscle to adapt and recover to hard training sessions. The reason behind this is because your muscles need these things called amino acids to rebuild and recover. And protein is basically a really long string of amino acids. And so if you have enough protein, then your muscles will have enough amino acids to recover and adapt to training. And so the next time you go to the training, you'll be stronger and you'll be able to go even harder than you did the previous session. The reason why I'm making this video is because there are actual advantages to having enough protein in your diet and making sure that you consistently eat that amount of protein and consistently eat enough food as well for your body to grow and adapt to your training sessions. And so the issue though is that I've noticed a lot of people that I coach and a lot of people that I just see around that who talk about diet, who talk about improving on their athletic performance, they always say, yeah, I'm probably eating enough protein, I'm probably eating enough food in general, but if you look at them, you just know they're not eating enough food, they're just skinny. And basically how I was when I was their age, so around 15, 16, even 14 years old. They'll say I'm eating enough, but I know because I've been there before. That's why I made this video. That's why I'm making this channel. Moving on, as from the previous part of the video, when I explained macros and protein intake, the ideal amount of protein that you should be having every day is 1.6 grams for every kilogram that you weigh. So this is based on the low end of your protein consumption, according to a study conducted by Brad Schoenfeld and Alan Aragon in 2018. So if you were 60 kilograms, you'd be aiming for around 96 grams of protein every day. And so just basically, if you want to know how much protein you need, multiply your body weight by 1.6. And that's how many grams of protein you'd need every day. And that would be the minimum, right? So if you're wondering about the maximum of how much protein you can have in a day, it's 2.2 grams per kilogram per day. And anything above that 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, your body won't use that protein to target growth in your muscles, because that's just too much. Your muscles won't accept that level of protein. So for that example, if you were 60 kilograms, on the low end of protein consumption, you'd want to have 96 grams. And on the high end, you'd want to have around a maximum of 132 grams of protein every day. And now we come to the point of the video. So should you have whey protein in your diet? You can think of whey protein as a tool to build stronger, more adapted muscles. It is just one of the tools in your toolbox that you can use to get the right amount of protein in every day. And it's a very useful tool. You can think of this as a literal cheat code, like you're in a game, to get enough protein in. So I say that because, for example, you have 1 scoop of protein powder and some milk. You could easily get around 30 to 35 grams of protein just from that one drink, which takes you like 2 minutes to down it. And if you think about it, 30 grams of protein, 35 grams, if we take the previous example, that this 60 kilogram person had to have around 96 grams of protein per day, that's around a third. So you can get a third of all your protein intake in a day just by having a shake. Again, literal cheat code. A big benefit that I've found that whey protein has over other forms of protein like meat and eggs is that it'll absorb into your body faster because it's a liquid. And the reason is that liquids are less complex than solid food, and so your body won't need to digest it for as long in your stomach, and it can go pretty much from digestion to absorption into your body a lot quicker than the solid food. See, another benefit is just how easy it is to carry around. You can think of it like this. You can either carry around a steak in your bag to training and eat after, or you can carry dry protein powder in a bottle and just add water to it straight after and drink it and get your protein right there. Less than 2 minutes. Both have around the same amount of protein, but one is just a lot easier to consume than the other. Remember that first and foremost, you want to get your protein through actual foods like meat, eggs, nuts, dairy, and all that sort. And so I'm not saying that whey protein is the only way to get your protein in. The reason why it's helpful, the reason why I say you might consider taking it, is because two things. It's easy to consume, takes less than 2 minutes really, you just down the bottle. And number two, it's easily absorbed into the body, which is really good because after training, after putting your muscles under stress, you want to be able to give it nutrients as fast as you can. To sum it up, try and get most of your protein in through eating whole foods, actual foods. This will prevent you from having to use supplements to get you to that protein goal for the day. And typically if you're younger or if you're a girl, this would be easier for you to do because these, I guess, it's just you would weigh less and so your body would need less protein to grow and adapt to training. So the fact is that if you weigh in less, it'll be beneficial for you actually, because the food that you eat will almost always be enough for your protein consumption goals. Unless you're eating absolute junk food, then that's a different story. Once you start weighing in more around the 70 to 80 kilogram mark, then it'll be a little bit harder for you to get in the protein by just eating food. Because at around 70 to 80, you'd be having to have around, I'd say, a good 80 grams and above of protein a day. That's on the low end, and more than 100 on the high end. And then I'd have to eat more to get there. Then possibly consider getting whey protein because it's an easy way, it's a fast way to getting in your protein intake. And the final part of the video will be about what exactly should you be looking out for when you buy whey protein. One of the things that a lot of people kind of fuss over is about the flavor of the protein and like what it tastes like. So some of them will taste like chocolate brownie, some of them will taste like vanilla ice cream and all those flavors. And it's just very interesting to look at because one of the protein powders I have is this like brownie flavored one. And just looking at the ingredients on the back of it, it's got some very odd ingredients on the ingredients list. Like one of the ingredients is titanium dioxide. And I was just thinking like, isn't titanium a metal? And dioxide, that's like carbon dioxide or whatever. And then another one is silicon dioxide. And so it's just very suspicious. There's like weird names in the back of them. And it just makes me think surely it can't be that good for your health to keep having these flavored whey proteins. And so what I've done, and what I think a lot of people should do, is just get raw protein, like powder that doesn't taste like anything. Because if it doesn't taste like anything, that means that there's nothing extra in it. And so there's nothing extra that you need to be worried about that could affect your health and so on. You're just getting the pure form of whey protein that you're after. Overall, I've noticed that proteins that have flavorings require you to have a bigger serving and you also get less protein overall. And the ones that have no flavoring at all, you'll get a smaller scoop, but you'll get even more protein than the ones with flavoring. For example, I've got a chocolate whey protein, and in that I need to have a 40 gram serve to get 22 grams of protein. Whereas the one that I use normally, which is no flavor at all, it's a 30 gram scoop and I get 26.4 grams of protein. So there's a massive difference in the ones with flavoring and there's a little difference of scoop to actual protein in the ones without flavoring. That 4 gram difference in protein from 22 grams to 26, it's not crazy, but it just makes it clear how much extra stuff you'll be having just to have something that tastes like chocolate. So just at the end of the day, ask yourself, is it really worth it to have something taste nice and you're also eating things that you're not really certain of, like titanium dioxide and silicon dioxide. So if you do find that you need whey protein, I recommend that you look for the ones that have little to no flavoring in them, because that way you'll be certain that the things you're eating inside this supplement are as healthy as can be, with the main concern being protein itself, not the fillers and other things inside. So we're at the actionable steps now. First up, figure out how much protein you need to eat in a day and start tracking it in an app like MyFitnessPal or another food tracking app on your phone. Secondly, if you find that it's hard to get in all the protein for the day, that's when you consider buying supplements like whey protein. You'll have a choice between WPI and WPC. That's just the end difference between isolate and concentrate. Choose WPI, it's more filtered, it's better for you. Otherwise, if you can get in all your protein throughout the day, just through food, that's really good, and all the power to you, keep doing that. But keep in mind for the future, in case you do get heavier or you do need more protein, then yeah, definitely keep this in mind. And third, consistently eat enough food, drinks, and supplements to stay at your level of protein consumption. You'll start to notice changes in your training and racing performances if you stay consistent.